Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Thatcher and Darren Doctorman, the Weirded Beardos.
Well, look at that. It was almost as if it was coordinated.
What? We didn't do a countdown or anything, and that's how close we are.
It's
It's
another Beardos.
Hey, you freaks! Welcome back to our fun little program here.
It's fun.
We have a good time.
I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you know that we have started dropping episodes again.
Dropping a lot of things.
Well, you know, that's how it goes.
I drop names.
Yeah. You're an episode dropper, is what you are.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
That was good. Still working away on the Nickelodeon series. We found out that it's called Max of the Midnights because this is going to air. Well, it still won't have aired, I think. It's going to drop October 30th.
That's exciting.
On Nickelodeon. You can see the first two episodes on YouTube, on the Nickelodeon YouTube channel.
Great.
So I'm finishing my penultimate and starting on my last episode, which is the season closer.
Wow.
Which is fun. So there's a lot riding on it. What's funny is my fifth and sixth episodes are the most difficult.
Mm.
The season closer has, big things going on, but they're much more linear, whereas my episodes 214 and 217 have like four storylines, and well, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a lot. There's it's fantasy and sci-fi kind of mashed up with comedy, so we've been talking about it. It's kind of the end of the day, your brain hurts trying to figure out how to make the scripts work. Not that they're bad, but they're not particularly written visually, and
right.
It's a 3D CG thing, so you're always trying to. And plus, you get the script, and that's one joy of being a director is going, ooh, but what about this? And the writers and the executive producers are great at going, oh, cool, yeah, do that. So that's been fun. And then I went to the Marvel Hollywood Bowl show.
Oh, that's cool. How was that?
It was amazing. It was fun. They used the same thing we did on the Muppets Hollywood Bowl, the projection mapping on
right.
the I don't know what you call
on the dome.
Well, on the surround, there's like a rainbow-shaped thing around the dome. Right. And so they did that. They had fireworks that were synced with movie things. And they basically went through everything Marvel had done pretty much since Disney had purchased them, from Iron Man all the way up to the end of the Infinity Saga. So covering pretty much everything, whether long bits or short bits. But what's amazing was the orchestra, the LA Phil, played along with these movie clips, either playing score as a montage thing or actual playing score to picture.
Yeah, they're very good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them rehearse. It's a lot. And it was Dudamel directing, and then Michael Giacchino, my buddy, who will be a guest on our show at some point soon, came out and he introduced the first 4 minutes. I don't know. I guess it was the Fantastic Four theme.
Right.
But there was a chorale. There was probably a 30-person choral group behind it. So they were doing, not just for that, for the entire performance. So that was fun. And then got to hang out afterwards with Michael and his wife and Kevin Feige and his wife and some of the other Michael's kids and some other people. And that
nice.
was, it's a really small group. I have to say, the guys at Marvel, and I was, I've said this since I met them, started working with them. Not the reason Marvel movies are so good. It's like why Pixar movies are good. It's done by people who know the subject matter, who love the subject matter, don't look down on it as like, well, it's an IP that the kids today love.
Right.
And they're just incredibly nice people. And I would say the same thing about Pixar back in the day. Still, it's just changed a lot. A lot of people have been let go, and really nice people. But again, people who loved animation, were huge fans of it. And also just incredibly nice people. And so that's heartening, because Hollywood gets a deserved bad rap in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of jerks and a lot of people who are, misuse power and misogynists. What? And yes, Darren, no. Yes, it's true.
Say it's not true, Mr. Thatcher.
It has happened. No, and that's what's great. And even, Disney sort of the evil empire, but under the Marvel umbrella, things are great and they're wonderful guys. So it's great to hang out with them, and it's great to see them succeed. Again, same thing with Pixar. It's funny though. uh, Mar- uh, Lucasfilm, I don't think has fared as well, and partially because there was no. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, um, was not a. I've met her once. I really can't say, but from people I know work with her, say she's lovely, but she's not. I don't think she was a fan of the genre. She's kind of grew up working on it with Spielberg and around it, sort of inherited it. And I know Favreau and Filoni are big fans, but I don't know. I think also Disney's just like, yep, keep cranking out them sausages. We need more shows. So it's interesting. The other thing is, and what gives Marvel, I believe, a hand up or a boost is the fact there's like 1,800 titles or characters. It's like an enormous amount of material they have to pull from, and then
and 10 good ones.
No, that's not true. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd never even heard of it, and it was great, and it was fun. It wasn't just guys in spandex fighting evildoers.
No, it really was. That's exactly what it was.
They were not in spandex. They were in anyway. But I love that I mean, I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen Deadpool versus Wolverine?
I have not.
It is great. And I was asking, it's made $1 billion, 600, I think, million this weekend. Right. So it's doing very well. And I asked how much it's so Ryan Reynolds. And he said, oh, no, he was listed as a writer and a producer and, essentially one of the stars. And he said, I don't think I'm talking out of school. He said that Ryan, they were developing and like, what are we going to do? And Ryan was pitching all this crazy stuff, which definitely makes Deadpool. And I thought that Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, was involved from the get-go, and he was not. And Hugh heard about it and sent a letter to either an email to Ryan or Kevin or both and just said, hey, I think I want to be involved with this. And then Kevin goes, and then it all fell together. And it was just like, and it's certainly, if you haven't seen it and you're a fan of the Deadpool oeuvre and that kind of fourth wall breaking, naughty, which I love because I think, comic books aren't just for kids. I loved it. And it's nice when you give the people who make it what it's success, give them the reins and let them go and have fun with it. And there was some trepidation. He said, it's a hard R. There's no sex in it, but there's certainly innuendo and a lot of language. But the thing that came out of it for me, and I'm not giving too much away, was a Headpool, who I'd never heard of. And that's what he's saying. Oh, yeah, watch it, and you meet Headpool.
I don't know if I want to.
I looked it up afterwards. I'm like, was this a creation of the movie? No, he was in the comics. Again, that's the advantage Marvel has over Star Wars. Star Wars, they had some books and comic books, but it was not this deep pool of really crazy stories and really sane normal ones.
It would have been interesting if the Marvel guys had thrown out all the comic books that appeared before, like the way Star Wars did.
Yes, exactly. There's no what we do is again, that I think is not a great idea. I mean, Star Wars, if you include the video games and the novels and all that, maybe there is a deeper, but exactly. They're like, nope, all gone.
Well, then you get Dash Rendar, a Star Wars story.
I heard of that. I don't know anything about it. But, they should embrace the Christmas special and do a new one, I think.
There is no Christmas special. There is a holiday special.
Yeah, right.
There's no Christmas in Star Wars.
Life Day. That's true. But there are bras. Or there's no bras in space, too, I think.
No, that's what George said.
Yeah, George said. There's tape.
There's tape. There's lots of tape.
But yeah, a new holiday special. I think they should double down on it, and because the fan reaction would be enormous. And you don't have to be as cheesy. And
I think they ought to just call it Life Day for everybody.
Right, exactly. And then do it and have Wookiee families and Ewok families and just kind of
embrace it.
Embrace the kookiness. And I think that's what Grogu kind of brought a little bit of it back. I mean, in a cloying way, but have some fun with it, guys. I mean, although I will say Andor, which was dead serious, I loved.
I did too.
And it sort of went, the Star Wars universe can have,
can have really boring bits in it and still be
it can have Boba Fett, which was silly. And
Boba Fett.
It was it was like a kids show. Like, I loved it because it was like, okay, this is goofy Star Wars with funny characters, and Matt Berry is a robot, and Matt Berry's getting a lot of robot parts these days. Have you noticed he's in?
Yes, he's taking all my robot roles.
Yes, wow, he's
Yes.
starting to talk like Matt Berry. Yeah, he was in Fallout. He's a robot, and something else I just saw where Matt Berry was a.
Well, I mean, it's typecasting because he is a robot.
No, he's not. Don't get sued for defamation.
Don't fool yourself, Kirk. He's a robot.
He's a robot. Well, he's a damn good one.
It's Matt Bear-E.
Nice. Oh, you should do that. That should be M-A Pi.
Yeah.
B-R-E. When
Yeah.
people say Mapai Brie.
What?
Brie. So that was fun. And then I did another podcast for a Halloween podcast.
What?
I know. Don't be
You're
jealous.
seeing other podcasts?
I'm a guest.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's how I make my
Be our guest on this podcast for Halloween.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah, no. Gotta work on that.
Be our guest. Touch my nipple, squeeze my breast. That's the and let's see what else. And doing taxes. That's the hell that is this week.
Yeah.
Long weekend is mainly doing taxes.
Well, for you guys that do quarterly.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually. I just postponed my taxes.
Oh, I see.
You pay a minor fine to not or do them by April. You can do it till it used to be October 15th. Now they've moved it back to September. Or maybe that was COVID years. They gave you the extra month. So
Yeah, I don't know.
they're due in 2 weeks. So
I don't know. I turn mine in on time.
All right, Gallant.
Yeah, that's right.
We are.
You're Goofus and I'm Gallant.
I've always been Goofus. Look at my hair. Goofus'
Goofus
hair
wears his hair like this.
unkept. I remember those.
Now, for all those people who have no idea what we're
No, let them look it up.
No, they're not going to look it up.
Don't spoon feed them, Goofus and
There was in every dentist's office.
Yes.
There was a magazine that they would have a subscription to called Highlights.
Highlights.
And it had mostly crap in it that wasn't interesting at all.
I think it was written for 4-year-olds by, born
But
again.
they had a couple different sort of like comic strips. They had the Timber Toes,
Timber Toes,
which were like these stick creatures.
They were log people. They were made out of wood. Yeah,
made out of wood.
Ma and Pa Timber Toe. I remember that
because they had wood. They were made of wood.
They were made of logs. They should have been called the Logendary Timber Toes. And then there was
Goofus and Gallant,
which was the do and don'ts of behavior. There was and Goofus had, and he didn't look goofy. He was sort of unkempt. He had messy hair. His shirt was untucked.
He was exactly like Gallant, but with messy hair. Yeah,
they were literally frickin' frack. But messy hair and wrinkled shirts. And I would just look at it and go, well, I guess I know who I am. And my brother was Gallant. My brother made his bed. And this is what they were like. Goofus, leaves his bed messy. Gallant makes his bed. Goofus doesn't brush his hair. Gallant brushes his hair. Goofus makes sure his tie is on straight. Goofus makes sure his tie's untied. Gallant's is nice. And it was just literally shaming any boy. And it was two boys.
I would like to do rewrites of those saying, Gallant wastes so much freaking time during the day doing all his chores that he never gets anything important done.
Right. Well, it really was Gallant became an accountant and Goofus is either a drug dealer or an actor. Oh my God.
You can be both.
Oh my God. There's a movie, Goofus and Gallant, and it's them as adults. Oh, that would actually be hilarious. I wonder who owns the rights to those characters. And they both kind of look like a young Kurt Russell, I remember.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Kurt Russell from Circus Boy and even before the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes movies, he was in something else. Yeah.
He was the Jungle Boy in Gilligan's Island.
That was it. He looked like that. The Goofus and Gallant looked like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I would, before, just to talk about me for a second.
Please do. God.
I was just watching on YouTube. Shout Factory is running a marathon of Little Rascals shorts.
Oh, nice.
That is going all day.
Oh, wow.
But I was watching one that was so freaking hilarious. I mean, they were not doing anything. They were just sitting around. And I think Stymie came in and looked in the refrigerator and said, or the ice box,
Yeah,
and saw some eggs and ham there, and he said, "Did you know that ham and eggs can talk?" And the other kid said, "How is that?" He says, "Well, let me show you." And he has him put him in a pan and
right.
start frying him up. And it says, "I don't hear him talking." He says, "Well, they're sure talking to me." And the poor girl, I think it's Mary, who's the little girl,
Pre-Darla, yeah.
pre-Darla. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the group before Spanky.
Right. Okay. Oh wow.
Um, and the poor girl is standing there next to this, cast iron skillet with grease popping all over, and she's getting hit by the grease, and it looks like she's looking off camera to the director, and the director's saying, "Just stay there, stay there." It's so hilarious because they're treating these kids so horribly.
Yeah.
But
They were.
oh my God, these are so funny because they're. I mean, first of all, they're from a time before time.
Yeah.
And they were at the very beginning of Hollywood,
Free
and
Krugermont.
they shot all this stuff down in Culver City,
Yeah.
and you can see all the locations and how overgrown and lush it was at the time. It's
Wow.
crazy, because all that stuff was shot down by there.
Well, and then also a lot of Laurel Hardy stuff was shot in Pasadena,
Yeah,
which is interesting. I would have thought they would use both, but yeah. What's amazing too about those things is, like you said, the plots were thin, and how much of it was scripted or how much was just here's the situation, kids,
yeah,
kind of do what you're say what you're going to do, and the kind of the natural pauses that real conversation have that typically scripted things don't. It was like it's like you just said, like, you want to see it talk, okay,
yeah,
I don't hear nothing, and it was just that kind of flat. It wasn't like clever. It was just
yeah.
kids being kind
It
of
it looks as though it was pretty much shot piecemeal, that they would shout out the
right.
lines to the kids and have the kids repeat them, and
Yeah,
then, okay, cut, we're moving on to the next shot.
moving to the next angle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But oh my God, it's fascinating. I would love to see a sort of a docudrama about how those were made and how
well,
badly the kids were treated.
I remember in the '70s, they were interviewing, like the guy who played
Spanky
Spanky,
McFarland,
and
yeah,
Darla, and there were the two guys who both claimed to be buckwheat. There was
right,
this drama, like which one was buckwheat. Um, and well, as I recall, they didn't at least share that they'd been horribly mistreated. I mean, you're so young at that point. I don't remember what the hell I was doing when I was 5, like, and
yeah.
7, like so they probably goes like, Mr. You know, um,
Mr. Roach,
yeah, Mr. Roach was very nice, and we got candy. It's
yeah,
like we said the lines, and we got a popsicle, and that was, and their parents got $5, and then that
yeah,
was it. I mean, it
yeah,
was not very complicated. But I love all those. The early ones are shockingly spare,
yeah,
and they
and they're
kind of,
very strange. They're
yeah,
very strange
right. It's just like, hey, I've got an idea.
because they
Let's
did,
go fishing.
yeah, because they those early ones had a lot more adults in them,
True.
interacting with the kids, like
Mrs. Crab,
stepmothers and
Mrs. Crabapple.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, Mrs. Crabtree.
Crabtree. That's right.
Mrs.
Mrs. Crabtree
Krabappel
is from
is
Simpsons.
from The Simpsons.
Yeah, Miss
Uh,
Crabtree.
but little Jackie Cooper, who was
Yeah,
in that episode with the new teacher, that is one of the most heartwarming and weird stories. Jackie Cooper, the character of Jackie, was
yeah.
basically in love with his teacher,
Right, I
uh,
crushed on her.
had a crush on her, and he was trying to um, trying to get the replacement teacher in trouble
Right.
because he resented her coming and taking the place of the first teacher, and the teacher had planned a big party in the classroom with chocolate cake and ice cream, and basically Jackie got kicked out of class and was sitting on the side of the side of the lake, and the replacement teacher came out and brought him a plate of cake and ice cream, and it was very sweet. And
Gee, that's swell. Also,
yeah,
the dialogue then. Well, the other thing is the acting style, particularly in that first round of Rascals before the McFarlane group.
yeah,
You could tell they were trained in silent film acting because everything was like,
yeah,
like
right, very
it
big.
was very big, very mimey, and I assume that's because that's what had worked with silent films, and then they got more kind of, I wouldn't say realistic, but
Well,
subtle.
Stan Laurel and Babe
Yeah,
Hardy were role models for these kids. These kids were
yeah,
around them all the time, and they watched them act, and they were uh, yeah, they they were the example.
yeah. The other thing, when I was a kid, I asked my dad, who was born in 1919, so he was
Hmm.
basically almost the same age as maybe just a bit younger than the kids in it. I said, did people talk like that? Like, was that, like, gee, that's swell.
Yeah,
Thanks, Miss Crabtree.
and
That,
how?
and how, yeah, and how. Um, and I wondered, like, was that, and my dad's like, yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah,
mean, that's kind of how we talked. And because it sounded very stilted and old timey. I mean, and the other thing was, I think in about 1950 it stopped, but everyone in the movies from talkies up till the 50s were like, say,
yeah,
and then they
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
ask the question. But I'm like, no one does that anymore. Was
Well,
that,
that all came. I think that all came from like stage acting and
I wonder,
vaudeville.
right? Say,
Because
friend,
it had to be, it had to be bigger, and you had to be
set
very
it up.
precise of telling who you're talking to and all that sort of stuff.
I want to bring back say, Darren,
Say, Kirk.
say, how was your weekend, friend? Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you.
yeah, I think we should bring that style of talking. Because again, movies back then, just there was a different lingo, and I know some of it was just the what's the right word? The writers kind of distilling language, and like
Right.
movie dialogue has to be somewhat spare in terms of unless you're a mammoth. Huh? What? Yeah,
Good.
that's what which is funny if you looked at movie dialogue starting in the 30s with talkies and compared every decade to where it is now, where it's very quote unquote realistic. I think that happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
Seems to be when the new breed came in and said we want this to be like mise en scène, very real, very
Well,
not
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that started with the French New Wave
right,
being more documentary like
right,
and
right.
trying to recreate reality rather than uh,
Stylized
a
version.
different stylized version of
What
life.
was the Dutch group that had their rules and there was no lighting? There was no.
Um,
It was like,
I knew this at one point.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
It was called like Group 105 or something. It had a very like
very, very, yeah,
sterile
yeah,
kind of
regulated name. Yeah.
clinical name, and it was just a series of rules. Remember, there was no lighting. Um, all the sets had to be real. All had to be real locations. It was
Mhm.
basically doing fiction in a documentary style.
Right.
Just getting a camera and it's run and gun, and you, which is a great way to do a low budget movie. But the problem is they end up looking like low budget movies.
Well, that's true. I mean, when you don't have room for uh, production
Right,
value,
right.
it looks
But like
cheap.
Run Lola Run one of the kind of successes from that? I don't know if it was actually a Dutch Group 105 or whatever that thing was called, but I know it was in that era where it was
Mm,
very handheld and just kind of
right.
like a chase sort of movie. That's the great thing about chase or revenge movies. They're so linear that you can have more fun with the process as opposed to things with like I was mentioning about this animated show I'm directing. Like sometimes there's three storylines going on with six different characters, five characters here, two characters here, and it keeps it moving, but sometimes it's like you almost get lost in the details of the story, and the exposition goes up to 11 because you have to explain what's happening. So the audience is like, wait, why are we now on the moon? Wait, now what's this guy who's in the car running down the
And how?
and how? Just I grew up. It's funny. I don't think my dad grew up on Little Rascals because there wasn't TV.
Right.
So I guess you just saw him as shorts before a kiddie movie or something.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's where they were intended for.
Yeah, the
But
matinee. I guess,
yeah, but back in the early '70s, they showed them
Oh,
at like 6 a.m.
yeah, yep. That and the Cisco Kid.
Uh huh.
You remember those Cisco and Pancho?
Sure.
Oh, Cisco, oh, Pancho.
Leo Carrillo Beach.
Yeah, Leo Carrillo, and it wasn't Content Floss. Who was there was Leo Carrillo
No.
and
It was
Leo Carrillo's Pancho, right? Cisco was I don't remember the actor's name, but he was great. He was very dashing.
Yeah.
Kind of but I love those, but man, I don't know if it was racist or who wrote it, but it seemed now you'd be like, you couldn't do
Oh,
that.
totally.
I mean, Cheech and Chong might be able to get away with this because, but yeah, I mean, would Cheech and Chong be canceled now because Cheech was very Latino Chicano? But that's who it was.
I don't think you could cancel them. I mean, if they aren't canceled by now, they're never going to be canceled.
Well, now that pot's legal, I love that I get ads for their gummies. They're like, these are the shit like available.
I ordered their gummies. They help you sleep really well.
Yeah, that's the idea that they chill you out. Pot just makes me fall asleep. It's even recreationally, I can't.
No, it had that effect on me the first time I tried it, and I never needed it again. So.
Yeah. So wait, you take the gummies to knock yourself out at night, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should if I don't have a problem falling asleep. I have a problem waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I just have to.
You mean a problem with waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning?
Yes, I don't want to wake up.
Yes.
Partially, it's my cats are running around, just literally decide to dive bomb the bed. They have a 4-poster with
yeah,
and so
hey, it's 3:15. It's time for food.
No, they're just like bored, so they're jumping on the bed. Once in a while they hit me right in the gut or on the butt, and
oh my,
and then also jumping up because they're jumping almost 4 feet straight up in the air, so they hit the bed. So it feels like an earthquake. Like because now the point is I don't wake up in a panic, but it does wake you up. Cats.
Oh, shut up! You love cats.
I do. I love cats, but they do drive you nuts. It's why did
I love cats.
They're so fuzzy and meowsy and taily. Muppets. What's up with the Muppets these days?
Anything dirty or dingy or dusty, anything ragged or rotten or rusty, I love it because it's trash.
Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live where Dave Harbour did what they did with the Joker, but they did
yes,
yeah, with
brilliance.
Was it called Grouchy or Oscar? I forget.
Was it just Grouch?
Grouch?
I don't know.
Grouch.
I don't remember. But
Grouchy.
it was brilliant.
Yeah, with Bert and Ernie being like one of them shot in a like how bad Sesame Street had gotten, and like what was her name? Was turning tricks. One of the Prairie Dawn was
Prairie Dawn. No.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Well, it was all the actors. They didn't use puppets, but
right.
What was I going to say? Oh, I know.
Real Muppets.
I was saying, where are the Muppets now? So D23, the big Disney rollout for this and that, and not having worked with the Muppets at all in like the last 3 years, I was curious, and I wonder if they're doing. I've heard rumors and all that, and so the announcement came that they're doing Clue, and I'm like, wow, that's going to be. That's a good idea to get the Muppets, get a couple of human cameos. And it turns out, oh no, they're just doing the board game with the pictures of the Muppets as, I guess, Kermit Mustard, or I don't even know if
licensed.
It's just licensed their likenesses for the game, and they Muppetized it for some. Maybe it's in the Muppet Mansion. I don't know. But I was like, oh, that's depressing. Like that was their big announcement. Oh, they've devolved to board games. I don't know. Maybe they're. Again, I don't know. So people ask me where the Muppets are. I have no clue.
Nothing. You have a clue.
No, I haven't. You'll have a. Yeah, all right.
Pick up the Clue phone. It's ringing.
Do you notice that there is a huge, and I don't know, this is a LA thing. I assume it's cross country for board games like bars. Like in LA, we have a couple. The one I know is a Guildhall, where they have an entire floor to ceiling rack of board games.
Yeah.
From old ones like Yahtzee and Monopoly, the classics, to ones I've never heard of. I remember I played with friends a few years ago who were really into board games. Like
Mystery Date?
no Virus.
Virus?
Or influence, yeah, or yeah. It's something like your pandemic. And basically, you're the CDC trying to stop a pandemic
Oh my God.
from killing everybody. I'm like, how is this fun? Like, what a weird. I was never big on board games.
I played
Checkers.
a few years ago. I played a game with friends called Secret Hitler.
Is that like Werewolf?
Kind of.
Yeah.
But one person in the group
Yeah.
is Hitler, and
Like
you have to find out who he is or
Right.
her before they concentrate their power.
Oh, because the werewolf is basically somebody's a werewolf and everyone else is villagers. And I forget how mechanics of it, but a werewolf, taps somebody with the lights off, and then they're killed, and you have to use logic and deduction to figure out who's the werewolf.
Well, it wouldn't kill him; it would create another werewolf.
Well, no, was that it? I don't know. I've never played
See,
it.
I don't know. I've never played the game either, but I think they need to know how werewolves work.
Well, no, you can eat somebody and just kill them, or you can turn them, and maybe that's part of the game. Like the strategy is, I don't know. Viewers, write in, call us, tell us. But anyway, I don't get bored.
Write us at theweirdedbeardos@gmail.com.
Yes, what I love is with all the video games and VR and AR and all that I don't know if it's millennials or whatever, probably, or Gen Alpha. No, it wouldn't be Gen. It would be millennials, or what's the next one down? Well,
Gen Y.
Gen Y, yeah, that they're devolving back to like, let's just sit around a table with cardboard and play that.
Yeah, they're turning into 1950s families.
And they're listening to LPs, like vinyl is back.
What are you doing? We've grown beyond this. Snap out of it.
I want to start a steam-powered car company.
Oh, my God. Stanley Steamer 2.
Exactly. You probably could. Speaking of steam-powered, a friend of mine, this makes sense, is literally a rocket scientist, and she built or worked on the power source for the Mars rovers.
Yeah.
And so I asked her, I said, it's atomic powered. They use,
Yeah, but it's steam.
But it's a closed circuit steam engine.
Yeah.
And they can run forever.
That's how a nuclear reactor works.
I know, but it's just funny that we got this thing on Mars and it's running around on a steam engine. Not solar. I know they use solar for some things, but atomic powered steam engines, how is that not taken off? Because, well, I guess for a car, you're going to need a little more heat than a few pellets. But, lead shielded box. I guess with car accidents, it could be scary.
Yeah, that's correct. And there's very little chance of the Mars rover running into anything.
Yeah, or maybe a rock. I got a rock. But it is amazing
Peanuts reference for you.
How much technology really hasn't changed that much in 200 years.
Yeah.
It's just a better steam engine. Gas, ice engines are still just basically controlled explosions. The electric engine was around in the turn of the century. They just went, we can't make money off of that.
Right.
I love all the hate towards EVs right now in the political landscape. It's like, EVs don't work. They're terrible. I'm like, of course they work. They work really well. Well, one guy, some pundit yesterday was like, to power all the EVs with solar, you'd have to cover 2/3 of the country. And what I've heard is you could do it like in, 20 square miles in Nevada or something to generate enough.
And you just need to get more efficient solar panels. That's all.
Well, but the other thing, and storage, but the other thing is there's not much money in it because,
Yeah.
Well, I guess there would be for if it's controlled by.
It's like the difference between Ed 209 and RoboCop. Ed 209 has a whole lineage of spare parts that they can sell.
That's right.
RoboCop is just self-sufficient. All you need is baby food.
You need a human brain.
Well, yeah, that too.
That's a franchise that kind of died quietly.
No, it wasn't quiet. That remake came out and it was terrible.
Oh, right. I forgot about it.
Yeah, you forgot.
I wanted to. Wait, and who was RoboCop in it? It wasn't Peter Weller. It was
No, who knows? I have no idea.
poor guy. He was so excited. His family like, oh my god,
I'm the new RoboCop. That's
new
excellent.
RoboCop.
I'm going to be famous.
You never know.
Yes,
you
you
just
do.
don't know.
Yes, you do.
Well, reboots, yeah, it's a little safer bet that it's not going to be. What reboot was better than the original? There's a question.
The Thing.
Yes, the John Carpenter one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one, but I mean that's low hanging fruit. The original Thing, like it was James Arness with a bald cap going, and it played on the premise. Okay, well, there's one.
Trivia for you. Who's James Arness's brother?
Billy Arness. Was he a known actor? Let's play 20 questions.
Yes.
Okay. Was his last name not Arness? Is that part of the problem?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, going by looks, jeez.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to turn over all the cards.
All the cards.
Peter Graves.
Really?
Yes.
I can see that. I can see that in the face. He's like his thinner younger brother? It had to be.
Yes.
Peter Graves. Wow. And what was the reason for the name change? He didn't want to be...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why did he change his name? He just liked it better that way. Okay, so you've named one reboot.
Yes. What else? The Fly.
Oh, true. Yes, good. I guess if you go back to the 50s, you could... Someone needs to make Tarantula again.
Oh, my God, yeah. That movie was so scary, mostly because of Leo G. Carroll's deformed face.
Yeah.
That was horrific.
I don't even remember why that happened. Did he inject himself with
I think so.
It was supposed to be the formula that made the spider giant. He was trying himself, and he got like acromegaly on his side. Yeah, it was horrifying. Oh, you know what movie freaked me out? And it was so cheap, and it was part of the cheapness that bothered me was I think it was the day the earth of the world ended. It was giant grasshoppers.
Oh, yeah.
Like locusts it was basically them and the tarantulas. Right. But the buildings were literally...
They were photographs on cardboard, and you could see the grasshoppers crawling across.
Crawling on it, and it just, as a movie, it freaked me out because it was so obviously bad. But I don't know, and it was black and white, which helps the surreality of it. A movie one of the few horror movies that gave me nightmares was A Quartermass in the Pit or 20 Million Miles to Earth.
Yep.
The videos of the Martian bug people.
Yeah.
And the guy who's losing his mind, he's like, they're jumping and leaping. And then you see this bad staticky, and you're like,
and how?
Oh. Yeah, I literally got goosebumps. Remember, it creeped me out. It was one of the few movies that gave me nightmares of just those inexorable, weird bug-like things.
One of these movies that I watched, probably on the 4:30 movie in New York, was The Crawling Eye.
Oh, that's right.
With Forrest Tucker.
That's right, Colonel Agarn.
But oh my God, that was so freaking scary.
That was weird, but it didn't give me. I think it was removed enough. I don't know. The Martian thing just got into my head.
Yeah,
and it was that bad video where they're like literally look like sculptures on sticks.
Right.
It was
it's because it's bad video. It's the same way that the video transmission from Kane in Alien works. When they're approaching the derelict ship in Alien, that's all video. Right. That's all video tap, and it seems more real that way.
Yes. Well, it's like how found footage movies suddenly, from Blair Witch all the way to the paranormal things where it's on. You're like, oh, that's real because it looks. Right. There was an early movie that used. It wasn't all done that, but there was. I don't remember what it was, which film it was, but it was security cam footage, and it was of ghosts, and they like pulled frames, so they're like, and that's unnerving. Do you remember Jacob's Ladder?
Oh yeah,
with that guy's doing this, and then pulled frames. It's like it's all that was creepy. I didn't have nightmares, but it did make you go, good God, that's creepy. Yeah, that's an effective trick.
And I'm not a big fan of horror movies, primarily because I'm so easily scared. But
I'm not. I just find like this was a question: do I like paranormal horror movies or monster movies? I'm like, I much prefer monster movies because I like the
Right.
creativity. But a good ghost movie done well, I have nothing but respect for. But they're hard to do. The
Yeah.
ones that have been coming out now I just find them almost too slick. I don't know what they just don't get under my skin. I thought Saw, which is straight horror, there are no ghosts or
Right.
paranormal monsters. That was creepy because it was just torture porn.
Yeah.
That I don't really enjoy it because it's like, I don't know. I guess I have too much empathy for people. Just you're imagining like, oh, this thing drives a spike in your skull, puts a grenade in it, blows your head off. They're like, oh, okay. You all right there, bud?
Yeah.
Told you not to eat the pine cone. Just eat the nut.
But it's tasty.
Tasty pine cone.
You just got to put it in the right way. What?
What? Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Derriman.
It's the pine cone joke.
So let's see. We've covered The Weekend. We've covered reboots. There's never been a great Frankenstein reboot. I'm trying to think if there's ever a really good Dracula. I mean, there've been a ton of Dracula movies.
Well, I think Coppola's Dracula was a pretty good reboot, and it was different enough.
Yeah, it was more historical drama really than scary, but it was fun. You know what I loved, and it was a guilty pleasure. At least the first 2/3 of it was the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman. I loved it until Frankenstein. Was like Shrek. But I loved how weird the vampire, like Dracula, was, and I don't know. I love the brides of Dracula were great and creepy, but then when Frankenstein came out with a clear top on his head and his brain, and he was kind of a big lump, and then Dracula was trying to breed 1,000. I don't know. It just got weird, and I'm like, it was the same guy who did the Mummy, and I liked Mummy pictures. They had a sense of fun to it. And I loved I wish they somehow could have made a Hugh Jackman Van Helsing sequel and maybe toned down, I don't know, some of the dumbness. But look, I love when they take a chance and do something crazy.
Well, you could do a Ryan Reynolds and have a Van Wilder Helsing.
I liked Van Wilder. Was that his first?
That's the first thing I remember him in.
Yeah, me too. Or at least where he got. And then he was in that horrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just kind of not watchable. TV series, Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place.
Oh, I don't even remember. I never.
No, it's super forgettable. Like, I mean, literally the premise was two guys, a girl, in a pizza place.
Right.
I think that lasted like 2 or 3 seasons. Let's talk about
another reboot. The Blob.
Well, that was pretty good. There was something about the innocence, you will, or the 50s.
Yeah, the innocence of the original is still. I mean, it's innocent, but it's still really scary.
It's creepy as hell.
I mean, that the first scene where the old guy gets he has a thing on a stick and he turns it over and it still crawls up and gets his hand. That's horrific.
Just the simple blob technology works like a charm. Yeah, you're right. But the reboot wasn't better, I would say.
It wasn't better, but it was very interesting.
The effects can always be better.
Yeah.
Like what is a good movie for a reboot if done properly could be great?
Logan's Run.
Yeah, they're talking about that. I don't know.
They've been talking about it for 25 years.
I
don't think they're ever going to do it.
If you did an R-rated version, I could see it working.
Yeah.
Where basically it's a nonstop orgy. Everyone's having a great time. And at 30, because that's what it was. It's like, well, what is the transporter was just, it was Grindr or Tinder. You just put there's a hot chick. All right, come on out and we can have sex. Yeah. That's a great future. Then, but if you mash that up with Soylent Green, that would be interesting.
Oh my
Where
God.
it's like they get killed and turned into the paste that they eat. Soylent Green would be an interesting reboot.
You know what? I've watched that again recently. It's not good.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea, but it's not good. It's too distracted by other stuff.
Oh, the Will Smith reboot of I Am Legend.
Oh yeah, that was not good.
Again, I wanted to like it. A Boy and His Dog is basically is what Fallout is. It's a long version of A Boy and His Dog, which I really liked Fallout. I never played the game, but I thought the TV series was great. That's
Yeah.
not really a reboot. What else? Like movies that were just, that again, a lot of times the era they're made makes them work.
Well, I think quote more recent movies that could be redone and no one would care
Right.
is like yeah, it just left my mind.
You know what I think would be completely salient, and people have been talking about, is Colossus, the Forbin project.
Oh,
We're
totally.
there. I mean, that is
We're
reality.
there.
It's almost a documentary.
Yeah.
But do the scary
In
version
fact,
of
it probably already has happened.
Well, yeah. Oh, not the movie, but the actual thing.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the big thing was Russia, but you can now have Russia and China have, each have theirs. So it's a third party
Yeah.
in the U.S. And there's this war, Cold War of AI going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if it could be a great series, but it could be a great movie. And I know the guys I know a couple of the Marvin Minsky AI team
Right.
who are down there mid to late 60s who would be Forbin, like the guy, or
Right.
well, he's more the canary in the coal mine is what's his name? The guy who wrote the this not the single. Oh, hold on, Ray Kurzweil.
Yeah, Ray Kurzweil. Didn't he die though?
Oh, did he? I just saw him in a talk recently.
Oh, well then maybe he's not dead. Maybe.
I don't think so.
He's been reconstituted by AI.
He's the guy. One of the first guys.
No, he's the singularity. Yeah,
the singularity. But also to have his brain downloaded into code or turned into code. We're not there yet. There's a subject.
As far as we know.
Yeah, well, whatever. The interesting thing, and this was when I was thinking about doing the Forbin project kind of movie, is have all the.
It has to be the 5-bin project now.
Yes, exactly. The has-been project. All the cell phones in the world are actually what harbor sort of the ghost of the machine. And so you can't shut it down because it's in everyone's phone unless everyone agreed. It was sort of like, when people would put computer time to studying the galaxy. I forgot what that program was called.
Yeah, SETI.
Well, yeah, that's right. Be a part of SETI or SETI. But basically it infiltrates everyone's phone. It's been on our phones for like 3 years. And so you can't kill it unless everyone shut their phone off.
Right.
And it's sort of holographic that it's not in one place. It's Napster for AI, where everyone holds a part of it.
Wow.
Yeah. There's my story. Someone's going to steal it now and make $1 million. The problem is it's really...
Remember, these days, if you just make $1 million, you're not successful.
Well, yeah, but you can keep your house for another year.
Not in Southern California, you can't.
Yeah. Let's not get into politics because I could talk about that. I do. The only thing I want to say about politics is I'm kind of tired of us versus them, and like it's become so polarized where you're either an idiot or a.
Well, the hell with you, idiot. What?
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. A2.
Politics splits the Beardos.
Yeah, you're either a MAGA idiot or
I'm enjoying my Shasta Tiki Punch. This is not an advertisement, but if they want to advertise with us, that's great.
Sure.
But Shasta, the cheapest soda available.
Well, is there a plain wrap? Doesn't Walmart have like Wall Brand or something? Or
I wouldn't want to.
Shasta.
Wouldn't want to.
Do you remember when they did they took over you do, Mr. Shane? It was like it's.
Oh yeah, root beer, Mr. Shane. Yes, I do.
Yeah, the finest draft root beer in the land.
Yep.
I thought that was a jingle until I heard "Do Bis." What is it? Kiss me and say that you'll be mine. It's like it's the journey.
Beer bis du Zane.
Yeah, Mr. Shane. I'm saying. Yeah. Boy, we just ramble. We don't have ADHD.
Wait,
we're still talking about reboots. That's an interesting subject. We're not going to get into politics. I just wish everyone.
I just remember the Shasta commercial that had I wanna pop 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 pop. I wanna Shasta.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Look that up on YouTube, folks.
Look it up in your fucking Wagnalls. That was a callback.
That's a Bob Hope callback.
Was it?
Yes, sir.
I don't know where it came from. I remember it was repeated multiple times. Like I think even on Laugh-In, I think.
Yeah.
Look it up in your Funkin' Wag. Maybe Bob Hope said it. I just remember hearing that as a kid going,
Ooh, that's dirty. But it's not, because Funkin' Wagnalls was a
Wag-
encyclopedia.
encyclopedia. Yep. There was
It's the
Britannica.
encyclopedia. ENCYCLOPEDIA.
Was that Topper? Who was that?
No, that is Jiminy Cricket from the Mickey Mouse Club.
Wow. I watched some of those in reruns. I had school teachers who would quote the Mickey Mouse Club, and so I saw some when TV was running whatever they could. They showed
In
some
the late or mid 70s, they reran the old 50s Mickey Mouse Club.
with Roy.
That's right. Back
Roy.
I'm Roy.
I'm Roy. He literally talked like he was like
running at 78
Yes.
rotations a second.
Yes, he runs at a different speed. And I remember he would take your name and turn it into a face or
my goodness.
He was
Jimmy Dodd, of course, who was the lead on that, wrote most of those songs and was another one of these people that did so many things for Disney and
got
didn't get properly compensated.
I wonder what that. Oh, I do know what that's like.
Huh.
Yeah. It's how show business works. That's why so many young people flock to it and are allowed in because they work cheaply and they're so excited.
That's correct.
To be there.
That's correct. And that lasts a few months and then it's gone.
Well, it's interesting right now in animation where I've been working for 2.5 years. There was a huge boom during the COVID year, I guess, starting around 2019, maybe 2020 and 2021, 2022. And it's been fading out. They've been, getting rid of huge swaths of people. Disney, Warner Brothers. I mean, they've all just been cutting back. And so there are all these kids, I say kids, but they're in their mid-20s to mid-30s. And they're all like, wait, there's no work. Because they all got trained and we're animators. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but... And I was just talking to a guy I met who's from Canada, and Vancouver is exploding with animation. Like, that's where they're shipping it. The good stuff. The cheap stuff goes to India and I guess, I don't know, China anymore, but Korea. But India is the cheapest. I learned what the people who animate our show get. I think it's a week, and it's literally less money than it is to buy a large coffee at Starbucks. It's shocking. And again, it's
but it depends on where they live.
Yeah, of course they live in India, but they get these kids out of high school. Can you draw a circle? Yep. Okay, you're an animator. And then our animation director spent a lot of time teaching them how to animate, so our show looks decent.
They spent a lot of time teaching them how to replace them.
Well, it's even but it's even worse is the ones who are really good. They get poached by the next cheap or the slightly more expensive place.
Slightly more expensive place.
That ILM or one of the other Disney uses. So the place we use, because of the low budget, the low cost leader, they're never going to get a greater talent pool.
Right. Than the base, the starters.
They literally are the starters. So I had a long talk with one of our animation directors, and she just is exhausted. And she goes, her quality control meetings are essentially teaching them animation in CG. And then she goes, every year the really good ones are like, oh, we're going to give you the better scenes. They're gone.
Yeah.
They went to the ILM facility or
train them, excite them, then turn them on the Nazis. Oh, no, wait, that's the Dirty Dozen.
That movie's been made a few times. That was originally the Seven Samurai, right? Wasn't that the one?
No, that's the Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven, but they're all kind of like a group of ne'er-do-wells and misfits get together.
Yeah, I think Dirty Dozen was more...
Sons of Katie Elder is kind of the similar idea.
Right.
Seven Samurai, Katie Elder, not the good and the bad and the ugly.
The Sons of James T. Kirk.
There you go. That would be... There's a Star Trek series. His 6 illegitimate sons.
Yeah.
And one's a half Orion, one's half Vulcan, one's half... what were they called? The Angelique Pettyjohn, the
Thralls.
Thralls,
it's a half thrall.
It'd be funny if he has one daughter and she's smoking hot, and everyone's like,
"That's funny.
This is my daughter. Leave her alone."
And she's green.
And she's got a hell of a set of antennae. She's an Andorian.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I don't think have they ever had a female Andorian?
They have not. At least
They're always
certainly not on the original series.
no, I know, but
I
I
don't. I
can't
don't
think.
remember on any other.
Yeah,
Maybe there are no female
I was just gonna
Andorians.
say maybe that's the size of your antenna or something like that. That I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like dwarves in Lord of the
Yes,
Rings.
but the women have beards. Have you seen the new season of whatever it's called? I haven't
No,
watched any.
I saw most of the first season, and I'm good.
Man, and they spent the money too. Uh,
Well, yeah,
Actually,
but that's what they do. That's what they do. They
the
spend money.
dwarves were the probably my favorite part of it because they
Yeah.
had some charm and they looked like dwarves. They didn't reimagine what dwarves were. And the dwarf wife of what's his name, Balin, is it Balin? Balin?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's great and charming and funny and works with it. Like it makes sense. The rest of it, I don't know. I wanted to like it. I haven't watched the Game of Thrones spinoff second season.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I've heard, so I got to watch that. I tried watching the new uh, Time Bandits.
Yeah.
It's fine. It actually, I think I said this last time. It seems like it's made for students to not have to take history class.
Right.
It's very educational in a way that's not so fun or funny. It's just sort of like, oh, okay, here's this Chinese, pirate queen, and you're with her for 10 minutes, and you learn a little bit about it. The kid basically does all the exposition. Oh, it's Queen Yada Yada, and she explains it, and then she goes, "Yes, you want to work for me?" And then he gets pulled away. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
like at least our flag means death did it better.
Right.
Gave him personalities, and I get the premise is like you're going to see 2 or 3 different kingdoms or worlds every episode. I guess 2, but so it's I don't know, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Lisa Kudrow is just kind of there. She's not bad. She's just kind of like, well, I'm kind of be a little grouchy. You're like, wow, that's a flex. She's grouchy. See, but she's a blonde woman. She's not ditzy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Not ditzy. Right.
Big change.
Big difference.
I watched The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie series.
Yeah. How was that?
It was very good. It was very Guy Ritchie, toned down from his movies. But the guy who plays the lead in it could be the next James Bond. He acts like James Bond. He looks like a James Bond. I don't know his name. It wasn't a name I recognized.
It's James Bond.
It's James Bond. What's his name? The British actor who plays the dad in it. He's an old cockney guy. He plays a rough. He's all. What's his name? What's that? Oh, you know the name. But
you
anyway,
know my name.
I love the accents. There's some great, really fun characters in it. There's a brother. So it's basically 2 brothers. One's the ne'er-do-well, and the other one's the dutiful son who, without giving too much away, basically
one is Goofus and one is Gallant.
One is Gallant, absolutely.
See, this is the callback to wrap it all up.
Yes, we're wrapping up with a callback. But it's fun, and if you like Guy Ritchie movies, you'll like it. There's some good cameos. Ray, what's his last name? Ray. Oh, it'll come to me, or it won't.
Okay.
But it's good, and no huge names. You're not like, oh, that guy. But yeah, I think they just announced the season 2, so I would enjoy that. And we're really looking forward to the second season of Severance, which I loved.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't
really. You don't know where you're going to go. Where they're going to go?
I don't know where it's going to go.
Well, that's what was kind of exciting in the first season. I'm like, what the like? You just don't know until you find out. You're like, and then it's over. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So they have a lot of room to play in the second season. I think. I mean, they're obviously
I guess so.
Introduce.
I mean, it always has the danger of going the Westworld route,
or Lost,
where you lose the whole point of the show.
Right. Westworld was the season 3 when the robots come into the real world, and it's starting to.
Yeah, it starts to. Yeah, I mean, you can have West in your Westworld. No, not anymore.
Yeah, it should. But what's the name of the company?
Delos.
Yeah, it should be just Delos World. But the premise was, they're going to go out into the real world, and it's sort of like the invaders, like who's a robot, who's human. And then it's a lot of talking heads.
Yeah, I mean that's the tragedy of that because they thought it was all cool and everything, and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
because I love the first season. I like the second
Great.
season. I got to work on the second and third season,
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
it just lost it.
Well, third just kind of petered out. They
Yeah.
brought in what's his name from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Jesse
Yeah,
Pinkman.
yeah, to kind of zazz it up, and you're like, okay, but
What's
it's a
the
little
point?
late for that.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense. Yeah.
yeah, and they didn't even do like a. I thought they were going to kind of go for a Terminator thing, like, okay, these are the
Right.
robots, and they're just going to kill the president, and replace, that kind of thing. But, maybe they were.
I must kill the queen.
Oh man, there's a reboot. Yeah,
It's Enrico Palazzo.
Reboot. I'm
The
still
Naked Gun. They are rebooting The Naked Gun.
Really?
They're rebooting The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson.
Now, I will say, I saw him do comedy dead straight faced on the Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Small
yeah,
World.
yeah.
Hilarious because
Yes.
he does not break, and he just
I like
really shit-faced.
I like
I
doing
want to play character.
observational comedy.
Right. But so all right. Well, what's your idea? Oh, I want my character to have stage 3 AIDS. It's incurable. I'm like,
I have full blown AIDS.
yeah, full blown AIDS. And just Stephen Merchant's like, okay, right. And then it's like, oh, let's improvise. I love pretty much everything Ricky Gervais does because it's got that dark British sensibility where they go there, and that's the one thing that kills me about pretty much all American television, but particularly Disney and the Muppets, because that's my wheelhouse. They just won't let you go there, and that's what the Muppets were. Like, they were silly, not dark, making fun of AIDS or having that as but just going to that weird, creepy, funny, odd place that half the characters came from anyway, and they just want to double down and like, oh, they're all happy friends. I mean, they did the Mayhem series, and I got why that was exciting in-house, but I don't think anyone outside of Muppet fans cared. That's why I just keep saying, stop doing the Muppets live in a house and this is their personal problems. Go back to, like, it's the Muppets Shakespeare. It's Muppet. I mean,
Yeah.
I pitched that. I pitched doing classic American musicals with the Muppets, and they're all the play that goes wrong. And they literally looked at me and they just said, yeah, we're not interested in that. I'm like, well,
but that's the Muppets.
I know they're not interested in making Muppet things. They're interested in, star fucking like Seth Rogen or somebody. Like, oh, we want your take. It's like
they're interested in getting money from Milton Bradley to put their Muppet faces on Clue.
I don't know. I mean that I think the death knell is starting to ring with them getting rid of.
Or is it Parker
Muppet.
Brothers? I don't know.
Milton Bradley, Parker Brothers, but they're getting rid of all the rumors are true of Muppet 3D, which would really be the death knell for the Muppets.
Yeah, that was the last thing that Jim worked on.
Yeah, well, and so about 10 years ago, I went in for when I was still working with the Muppets. They brought us in to do brainstorming to update it.
Yeah.
Like, let's add 5 more minutes, maybe cut a little bit here that's sort of dated, bring in new things. And we had like a week of brainstorming and talking about fun moments.
All Waldo.
It's all Waldo all the time. Hey, everybody, look, I can turn around. Hey, he was fine for the times.
No, not really.
I designed him.
I know. That's why I'm saying this.
You son of a bitch. Yeah. That's why you're an asshole.
Uh-huh.
No, and they were like, okay, great. And then, no. I mean, at least they thought about it. But I think now they're like, they don't make any money.
They don't care. They're not making any money.
So they're going to, what are they going to make it? Not Monsters, Inc. or Cars. I don't know. They're going to do Pixar stuff.
Monsters, Inc.
But again, they just look at the numbers. Like, Muppet movie cost $80 million, made $120 million worldwide. Pixar movie cost $180 million, but makes $600 million. Well, the new one made, $1.6 billion. So.
Yeah, but that was only because of you.
Well, we've established that I bring the money, man. Star Trek 4. Oh, somebody approached me about doing a figure.
Yeah.
Based on my character.
Your character, the punk on the bus.
Punk on the bus, yeah. And they told me that Paramount does not own anyone's likenesses on Star Trek. They did not do that for toys. And I'm like, if you're going to say Star Trek 4 or anything Star Trek, you need to pay the license.
Right.
But if you did William Shatner in a yellow shirt, according to this guide, I haven't looked it up, you could do that, but it wouldn't say Star Trek. So,
I bet you William Shatner would sue. If you
No,
had the name William Shatner on it.
no, but if William Shatner wanted to do it, produce
Oh,
an action figure called Bill Shatner, a sci-fi guy or something, like they couldn't sue. Oh, it's an interesting
no, as
factoid.
long as you don't put the
Yeah,
arrowhead on it,
exactly,
it's not copyrighted. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's weird that they own the character's name but not the likeness. And I guess,
correct.
but now when Marvel does things, I know that they own, because having the little small part I did in having a small part, as I do in Werewolf by Night. No,
Right.
wait. What I meant was my character. Yeah, they say they own your likeness as that character. They don't own your
Right.
likeness
Right.
as that character. But anyway, they were talking about doing it, but the deal is not attractive.
Mm.
They
Well,
want,
neither would be your figure.
but they want 10 years exclusivity
What?
with the option for another 5 for literally
Nothing.
less than 2 days' pay at my current job.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. I like the idea.
Dude, $20 is $20.
Yeah, but I can make that easier another way.
On that note,
I'm talking doing personal Christmas cards for people.
yes,
What
no
are you
doubt.
thinking? What else? I look like Santa.
That's not snow.
I met a guy at a bar last night in Australia, and he called me Australian Santa Claus. I'm like, all right, mate, Merry bloody Christmas. He's like, yes, that's you. But I don't know why I was Australian. He knew I wasn't Australian, but he was. I'm like, you're Australian Santa Claus.
Well,
Probably because I was.
Australians already assume everybody else is Australian.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
how
Mate.
they
As
how
well
they work.
be. They're all a bunch of immigrants.
That's not a knife.
It's not a candy cane. This
Santa.
is a candy cane.
Santa.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is Christmas there. It's like 100 degrees and humid, and it's. So I asked them, because I've never been there in that time of year. They do Christmas trees with like starfish on them, and they kind of. It's almost like Hawaiian Christmas,
Right.
where they kind of, because they're all from the UK, essentially. I mean, the majority, they do traditional Christmas things. I like, do your Christmas cards have snow-covered seats of people in sleighs, which doesn't exist anywhere except like the Blue Mountains in July and August. And I'm like, yeah, we kind of brought the culture came with us, so they do.
Oh, that's great.
It's just funny though to me.
Well, it's like the Star Wars Holiday Special. Everyone has a different way of
That's the
celebrating Life
reboot.
Day.
That is the reboot I want to do. Life Day with robots. Oh, here it is. Robots aren't allowed to celebrate.
Oh, that's right.
They're not alive.
They're not alive.
So they have their own holiday.
Which is Death Day.
It's called Bot Day. It's called their bot mitz. No.
Oh my goodness.
It's a robot holiday. I think that. And so they won't there's a robot club where humans can't go. They did that somewhere. Some movie, I don't think it was a Star Wars thing, but there was like a robots only kind of vibe.
Wow.
But it would be fun if they're second class citizens, which they are in the Star Wars world. I mean,
they're slaves.
They were made to suffer. It's their lot in life.
That's correct.
But I mean, there's a movie. There was a great heavy metal magazine called Exterminator 17 or something, and it was about a robot revolution. And there was a robot essentially who was killed in war and came back to life, and nobody knows why. And he started the revolution to make robots equal, and kind of what the creator was about.
Right.
Only good. I didn't hate it. I liked it. I thought there was a lot. What did you hate about it? Let's reboot that.
Yeah, let's reboot that right now. It thought way too much about itself. It was very, very precious.
Yes, but I think visually it was amazing.
It was fine. Look, it's fine for anyone who doesn't look at ArtStation every day.
Well, true, but that's only a few of us weirdos.
Yeah, well, that's who these movies are aimed at, though.
Yeah, I think the problem with a lot of creativity these days is either, and why they fail is they're playing too much to the crowd, that it's too inside baseball, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas, people are like, God, why do these dumb movies make so much money? Because they're dumb.
Because they're dumb and they appeal to everybody. Yeah.
They appeal to everybody. It's not, and that's, I think, the biggest problem with movie critics is they're That's their
Well,
job.
we don't have movie critics anymore. We have
Opinionators.
pundits, and we have
Yeah.
people who have websites, and that's it.
Yeah, not like us. We give
No,
smart reviews.
look, anyone listening to us for movie reviews is an idiot. So,
All right.
sorry, all you idiots out there.
Wait, don't call our fans
No, I
idiots.
wasn't calling our fans
Oh,
idiots.
the people who
It
don't
was
listen
the
to us.
other people.
The people who don't listen to us. If you
That's
don't listen to us, you're done.
You're an idiot.
That's a political stance we can take.
I just want to do a quick pluggerino for my Patreon page, which is Patreon/Beta5 Productions, all one word. I got a lot of interesting stuff on there, including my most of my renegade commentaries on movies that have influenced me. And I just put up A View to a Bill, which is a selection of James Bond themes done in the style of William Shatner.
Ooh. Wait, what do you mean by themes?
The themes of James Bond movies. You know, like Goldfinger and Thunderball.
The musical theme.
The musical themes, yes.
As sung by Bill Shatner.
As sung by Bill Shatner.
Ah, okay. I didn't know if you meant like...
Yes,
no.
Yes,
no.
Yes, no.
Gold
Yes.
Finger. Does he sing them like he did with Rocket Man? Oh, nice.
Well, you'll just have to subscribe and listen.
How long have you been doing Beta 5? This Patreon. How long?
This Patreon is only a few weeks old.
Oh, okay. So this is a new thing. Yeah, you hadn't mentioned.
Well,
folks, knowing Darren, he's going to be really good at this. You might say he will soon master Beta 5.
Why did I not expect that? I don't know why.
You're welcome.
And of course,
this is why folks turn in.
Kirk Thatcher is available at many conventions, signing lovely pictures of himself and hating you and berating you.
Yes, I will be. I will flip you off in your selfie picture with me. The only con I'm doing for the rest of the year, at least that I'm aware of now, is in Hannibal, Missouri.
Nice.
And it's in the third week of October. No, second weekend in October. I think it's October 11th, 12th, 13th, something like that.
So it's the Ides of October.
The Ides of October. It's a one-day con, and I'll be posting about it on my socials. But that's it. So I doubt there's a lot of listeners that live in that area. I guess.
Who knows?
St. Louis is not too far. But yeah, that's fun. They just found me and said, "Hey, would you please do this?" I said, "Sure."
Sure, you will.
Sure, I've never been to Hannibal, Missouri. I've never been anywhere near Hannibal, Missouri.
And how?
So there you go.
All right,
Find
kids.
us on the socials. Tell us how funny and pretty we are.
Well,
we need it.
It'd be nice for people to like, comment, and subscribe on our
nice
YouTube.
If I told people about it.
Well, that would be nice too, but I'm not holding my breath on that.
You know what? You're so gallant, and I'm so goofus.
This is true.
I'm gonna do it as soon as my taxes are done. So
how about Gallus and Goofant?
That's our other podcast. I'll tell you how to live your life, and Darren will tell you how to live your life, and you pick.
You just have to choose. You must choose. Choose and perish.
He chose poorly. All right.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
And join us again on the Beardos.
The Weirded Beardos are Kirk Thatcher and Darren Doctorman. Email them at theweirdedbeardos@gmail.com.